Hi everyone, my name is Vasudha. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing some of the ways in which we can celebrate festivals in our own bookish ways. So let's dive in. Well, as we all know that this year festivals will have a completely different meaning. We won't have the same get-togethers which we used to have earlier with our friends, our family, and our relatives. So things have been very different this year, and they are actually sadly quite worse for the people who have no means to celebrate festivals without our help. If you have been following the news ever since the lockdown began, there have been masses of people migrating back to their hometowns who had to leave cities, who had to leave work. There was no work for them, rather, and they had to go back to their villages, to their towns, and they had no means of earning. And those who continue to stay in the city, for them too life has been really hard. It has been hard for most of us, there is no doubt about that, but it's been really tough for those who are dependent on us for their income. So I thought that in this video I'll share some of the ways in which we can do a little bit to help these people from this section of the society. These could be our domestic help, our staff, our drivers, our gardeners, the press walas, or even the security guards. We just have to look around, and there are so many community helpers who are in need of our help, especially at this point in time. So why not brighten up their lives, and why not bring joy in their lives, especially during this festival time, since Eid and Diwali, Guru Nanak Jayanti, and even Christmas, they all are around the corner, even Kanjaks for that matter, if you celebrate that festival too. So I thought of 5 ways in which we can bring a little joy in the lives of these people who help us, whose services we avail on almost a day-to-day basis in our own bookish ways. Because this channel is about books, I have dedicated it to books and all bookish things. So I thought of sharing ways in which we can spread the joy of reading, learning, even education and knowledge. So let's begin. So, as they say, charity begins at home. So, first and foremost is to start with very simple things and also start at home. So, like I mentioned, there are our drivers, our security guards, our domestic help, our staff who helps us on a day-to-day basis. So one of the ways in which we can extend our help to them is by gifting their children or their grandchildren stationery or education kits. Most of these kits are ready-made. You can grab them from your local stationery shops if you do venture out, or you can order them online. So this would convey the message that despite all the hardships, the young children should continue with their education, because ever since education has moved online, a lot of students have lost interest, and especially people who come from an underprivileged background, they are finding it hard to encourage and motivate their children to read and learn in the absence of their teachers in front of them. So a good way to help them encourage and motivate their children to continue with their education is by providing them stationery kits. So like I said, they are ready made, and you just have to order them. So there is a combo pack which includes erasers, sharpeners, notebooks, and even box of colors, and so on and so forth. So with that mithai ka dabba, with new clothes that you give to your domestic help or to the people who help you on a daily basis, just add this stationery kit on top, and trust me, your gesture and your thoughtfulness will go a long way in encouraging them to make their kids study and continue with their education. And as for me, I have ordered this stationery kit from Amazon. I have ordered a few pieces, they are on their way, so by the time this video will be aired, I would have received my order and I plan to distribute it on Kanjak. Next is to donate books. Now these could be old or used books, or you could even donate new books to your local NGOs. There are plenty of non-governmental organizations in the field of education which are looking for sources to provide them books, because books are expensive or because that's an extra expense for these NGOs to bear on their own. Therefore, they ask us, people like us, to donate our books. And there are plenty of such NGOs in every city. You just have to go on the internet and find what NGOs in the field of education are actually asking for books from us. So these could be used books, these could be new books as well. Some NGOs do ask for buying books from their own center, and then they use that money towards their educational programs. And some NGOs already have their own educational programs for children, maybe in collaboration with other NGOs working in the field of children's education or child rights, or of their very own. So they do have reading programs, they do have such kind of programs designed for the underprivileged section of the society. And some other NGOs take our donated books and they pass it on to the street vendors for them to sell at whatever best price possible. So when you decide on donating books, please make sure that you donate them in good condition. Your books should not be tattered, their pages should not be ripped off. So make sure that your books are in good condition and they can be used for either directly for reading purposes, or they can be resold in the market. And as for me, if you remember in one of my previous videos, I had shared about my minimalist bookshelf makeover, and I got a handful of books out from my little bookshelf. So now they are neatly packed in a carton, and I plan to donate these books at least to one of the local NGOs in my city. Another great way is to volunteer with the book donation centers themselves, or with any education related NGO for that matter. Now, because of the pandemic, it's not advisable to step out of the house and volunteer physically. So it's better that you contact your local NGOs in the field of child rights, which are working for child education, or even for literacy in general, or specifically for literacy of grown-ups as well. So call them up, contact them, because many a times these local NGOs do not need us to be physically present in their centers, because they also have space crunch and sometimes they are quite mobile, but they rather need our help with the technical part of running their NGOs. So for example, they may need volunteers for updating their websites, or even developing their websites, or they may need some kind of technical assistance in expanding their membership base, or promoting and advocating about them in different ways. So that can be done from home as well. So for that, you don't have to step out of the house. So in this particular point in time, you can do a lot of their work sitting from home and assist them on a variety of levels. So if you are a student, or even if you are working at home, or if you are doing any kind of business, it just doesn't matter. All they need is your special skills, and since they do not have the capacity to hire people for doing all these things for them, so that's also one of the ways in which we can give them a helping hand. And once this pandemic is over, you can always continue supporting them offline as well. Next is to organize book donation drives in your residential areas. Now you can take the permission of the local, RWAs or whoever is in charge of your residential areas, and you can start a book donation drive in your residential area during this time of the year, especially during the festival time, and collect these books. Have a certain time slot, make some person in charge who can volunteer for a few hours, designate a place in your area, advocate about it, and spread the word that you are collecting books for a noble cause. And then you can take these books again to the local NGOs which we talked about earlier, and some local NGOs also will offer services to pick up the books themselves from your doorstep, so you don't even have to physically go and drop the books at their centers. These could be any kind of books ranging from comics, children's books, Hindi, Urdu, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, whatever languages that you may be speaking. So you can, in collaboration with your neighbors, collect more books. At an individual level, we may not be able to collect as many books, donate as many books as we may like or as the book donation centers may need. But when we do it collectively, then obviously there will be a much bigger outcome. And if this book donation drive becomes a success in your residential area, you can always have it as a permanent feature in your area where you are living. So you can do that either permanently, or you can do that in every festive season as well. And last but not the least, you can also sponsor a child's education. A lot of states still do not provide free books or free resources, even uniforms or whatever, stationery, so many other things which are needed for a child to be able to study effectively. And there are many children who still need that, and that's a very big expense for these families. And even now, when schooling has moved online, so there are now extra expenses which have to be incurred by these families. So now they have to pay, for example, the internet bills in order to help their children take classes online through their mobile phones. So many of these families belonging to the underprivileged section are not able to bear this extra expense. So you may not necessarily sponsor their education in the sense of providing them school uniforms or a school bag, but you can also make sure that their education is being continued in an online mode by paying for their internet bills. Now, if you know someone personally, a worker or a helper, then at least for them you can do this little bit, and you can pay for their mobile bills, their internet bills, and that can be also done online. You don't have to pay cash to them. You can pay for their internet bills by online payment apps. So you can do that for 2 months or 3 months, or as long as you want actually. And that will be honestly a very big help for them. That would bring a lot of difference to their monthly household incomes. And even if there are some very affordable service providers, still we know that many families can't even afford that much. So let's try and make sure that they continue giving education to their children. Their children do not stop reading and do not stop learning. So those were my 5 ways in which we can do our little bit for the needy, for the underprivileged, for the helpers of our community, especially during the festival time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And please share in the comment section below if you are already following any of these ideas, and your one comment can bring a lot of encouragement to other viewers as well. And especially if you are already donating books to any book donation center in your city, or if you know some reliable, credible book donation centers in whatever part of the world you may be, in whatever city you may be, please do share that as well. I wish you all a very happy and safe festive season. Until next video, thank you and bye.